Basically, what's happening tonight is Omar Workshop is about business. So, you know, like you said, if you want to learn more about business and you want to get into the business world, definitely come out at 6 and see his workshop. Because I know, like me, he's been a mentor to me as far as a businessman. He teach me a lot. And as a young black man, we don't have a lot of people that's willing to mentor and teach you and mold you. So, you know, definitely come out.
That's Sean Ingram. Sean Ingram is a poet, playwright. I saw him in a play in Greensboro last night, so he's doing this thing. He's been writing poetry and doing shows, and he's been putting together events here in the Raleigh area. And so he said, Omar, come on down. He's been trying to get me for about 5 months. Come on over. And he kept picking Sundays. And I said, look, man, Sunday is football day, man. That's my football day. But he finally got me down here. So, you know, we expect to have a good crowd tonight. And come on out and enjoy at the, what's that, the Oliver Twist.
But this is good because, I mean, we were just talking to the people from social in the city about things that are going on in the Triangle and people saying, you know, there's nothing to do, there's nothing to do. And we've got a national author here tonight that's going to give advice on business. Somebody that's been very successful, obviously. So it's great to have you here, and I'm just excited that we can share more information about what's going on, you know, in the area with our listeners.
Thanks. Well, we're not just talking about business, we're talking about the form of writing as well, people that want to be writers. I'm also going to be able to talk about film now because, you know, I'm about 2 inches away from getting the finances that we need to do my first film. And a lot of people that know my books, of course, they're going to jump up and down and say, fly girl, fly girl, fly girl. That's not the first film that we're doing. I actually have a book right here called Leslie, which is based in New Orleans, which is a suspenseful, horrific thriller. And I wanted to do that one first because so many people know Fly Girl. It can kind of, you know, pigeonhole your career if you come out with the obvious. So you want to come out with a story that they haven't read. And that's the thing, you know. Well, why come out with the book Leslie? A lot of them haven't read it yet. And so when they read it, like, wow. But if you do it as a film first, and then you have stars in there, and you have all the people playing their roles, and then people are like, wow. And then you have Fly Girl anyway. You know, so you want to play a chess game sometimes where you know people are waiting for something. You make them wait, and you put out stuff that you know you can create a trust system with. You know, I say, look, trust me, this Leslie is the bomb. If you have
will we see on the marquee Omar Tyree's Leslie like we see Tyler Perry's?
Definitely.
Whatever.
No way in the world you're not going to do this. Branding. Branding is very important. So as you can see, these books over here, I have a scripted name with the Omar Tyree with the big O and the big T. You're going to see that same scripted name on the big screen, and that's automatic. You don't put out films without having a brand. In fact, that's a heavy part of American business now. Everything that's branded, they can push it more. They can market it faster. You know, so you don't want to come out with new stuff and new people all the time. You definitely want to have a brand, and so this brand is going to be more important than some of the stars in the film. Which the same thing happened with Tyler Perry. A lot of times you go to the film and they don't even care what the movie is. It's a Tyler Perry movie.
It's Tyler Perry.
So that brand is that brand is highly important, and that's a way of new business. You have to learn that, and definitely Omar Tyree is a brand. If you don't know it now, you will know it.
Now, tell me a little bit about the business book that you created.
Yeah, The Equation. Okay, and that's based on the 4 principles. If you can see this cue card here, I have 4 basic colors and 4 components. Number 1 is red, and red is love and passion. That's the first part of business. If you don't have love and passion for what you're trying to do, you're already in trouble because you're not going to give your all. You're not going to give that extra effort. You're not going to have the extra energy to get up early, stay up late. And this is what entrepreneurs do. You know, we hustle. You know, Sean Ingram is in here sitting right next to me. Hustle. We get up bright and early. We go to bed late and get up the next morning. If you don't have that in your system, you are in trouble. If you're talking about, you know, starting your own business or being an entrepreneur. And that's one. That's the red component. And that's love. You gotta love what you do, and so I call that 100% component. You have to give 100%. Anytime you give less than that, you're falling off. You know, so you hear some people that go that extra mile and they say 110%, 150%, and so you know what they're getting at. Yeah, people who are quite passionate. You know, then the second component is the gold color. Now you're talking about art or talent. What do you have a talent to do? Now you have to be good at something. You can't just be average. I don't care if you love it or not. If you're not good at it, it has no value to it. And so people who are good at things, they create value. People start putting a price tag on it. You know, just like sports right now, I talk about football. You have #1 draft picks. They have people that's going to win the Heisman Trophy. You have to be the best for people to want to watch you, for people to want to pay for you, for people to want to talk about you. And so that's the second part of business. If you want to be in business, you have to be competitive with what you're doing. And every successful business person is competitive. They can say that they're humble in an interview, But once they get off that interview, they're thinking about all kind of ways to beat their competitors.
Right.
That is the reality of the situation. And so if you are not a competitive person, you have to learn how to be competitive if you want to compete against, hundreds and thousands of other people who would love to do the same thing that you say you want to do. Okay, so those are the first two components of the equation. And the third one is the green component, what I call support. And okay, today is church day, it's Sunday. A lot of folks are going to church, are heading away from church, are going to be in church sometime today, and they pass around a basket at every church.
Right.
And when they pass around that basket, they're expecting you to put green dollars in there for support. And so when we talk about green, right in back of you, I'm looking out the window, there's green trees, there's green grass. You have to have green in nature to be able to survive. So that's why they say going green, it's the healthy thing. You have to have support. And so now you love what you do, you're good at it, but nobody comes to your events. Nobody buys your books. That is a problem.
That is a big problem.
And so now you have to figure out, what do I have to do to get people to support me? So when I first started selling books, that was the first thing I put in every one of my books. Thanks for your support. Because they don't have to support you, Karen. They don't have to listen to your show.
That is so true.
And so when they do, you have to be very thankful, learn how to smile, learn how to say thank you, pass out your business cards, work the community, be there, be active, make people like you. That's the bottom line. If they don't like you, you are in trouble.
That is very
And so
true.
those are the first three components. Now how this thing works, you add those things up or put them in the equation. So if you love what you do 100%, okay, and that's the numerator, we know what the equations are. And then the denominator is the art factor. Okay, you want to be number one. Okay, so the art factor is about being number one. When you start getting to number 2, number 3, number 4, you're falling off. It's like radio. You want to be number one.
Always.
You want to have the number one rating.
And we are.
That's the way it works. Okay? And so you give 100% and you divide that by how good you are. Your number one divided by 100, that's 100% is your quotient number. That's the highest number you can get.
Right.
Let's say you're not giving 100%, you give it 90. And your radio station is number 3. Now you got 90 divided by 3 is what, 30? And so now you've lost 70 points already just by not loving what you do and not being the best at it. Now you want to multiply that times how many supporters you have. Now if a lot of people like you, you can get 20,000 people listening to your show. If you multiply that times 100 because you love what you do and you're number one at it, boy, the money just rolls on in.
Right, right.
But if you multiply 30 and you got maybe 20 people to listen to you because they don't really like you and they got another show that's hotter than you, now you got, what, 60 or 600? And so that's a major difference. And so that's the fourth component. Business is the multiplication of how much you love what you love, how good you are at it, how many people support you, and then when they put their revenue into you, that creates the purple, which I have in that card, the business, which is the bullseye. And purple is the color of royalty, which we always talk about. But in America, there's no kings and queens. It's about ownership. Who owns the radio station, who owns the business, and I had my own publishing company to put my own work out. And so that's what entrepreneurs are. They're owners. They own property, they own their own cars, they own their own houses. And so when the depressions or recessions hit, which you guys were talking about on the show earlier, people that have their own ownership of things, they can sell it, or they can downsize, they can price it, but they're not out of business. They're still in business. But if you work for somebody else and you're not in the purple class, you don't own it and you're not making money from it in multiple different type of ways, when you're fired, you're in trouble now. Right. Now you have to learn how to be an entrepreneur anyway. And so that's what this book, The Equation, teaches, and it is important for everybody to know how and when to be able to hustle and make your own living.